guys, welcome to episode 5 of Just a Chat With. We're here with Jack Renwick. Jack is a multi-award winning designer, creative writer and speaker. Jack is the founder and creative director of Jack Renwick Studio, which is an independent branding and design agency based here in Whitechapel. Jack has over 21 years of experience, although she doesn't look it, in creative working for brands like Amnesty International, British Heart Foundation, Royal Mail, Stella McCartney, Prince Harry and Sir Elton John, just to name a few. In 2012, Jack founded Jack Renwick Studio, which this one year, won several awards, including gold at the Drum Design Awards and 2 silvers at the 2019 Fresh Awards. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Originally from Glasgow, Jack started her career at The Partners, which is now SuperUnion, spending 5 of her 13 years as creative director. So thanks for having us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming down.
In a very hot studio.
I know, it's baking. Yeah, it's roasting. I turned up the heat just for you, in case we're cold.
We're not used to the heat from Scotland. But, I suppose, Jack, we're just wondering kind of where your sort of startup story, where did it all begin? What made you set off out on your journey on your own?
Oh, for setting up, I had been at The Partners, which was still called The Partners then, for like 13 years. And then I went off and had a kidney transplant.
Okay.
And I was off then for like a couple of months, and when you just get back and I could just feel the sort of tidal wave of stress coming, and I just thought I'm not fit enough for this, and I just sort of felt if I don't do something now, I'm just going to get consumed under that tidal wave of stress. So I thought I need to get out of here, and then I needed to pretend that I had a plan in order to resign, and I didn't really want to go to any competition, because I felt like, it feels like you're two-timing somebody, like you're cheating on them. And so I just said, I'm going to go and set up my own agency, which was a total lie.
The least stressful option.
Yeah, the least stressful option. But I thought I'll just lie and say, I'm going to set up an agency because then it makes it sound better and it cushions the sort of news, but then I'll just go and kind of maybe
do that now.
Well, yeah, then I had to keep face and do it.
So what did you do? How did you?
I had got a project to start that an old client had got in touch and said, could we do the project at The Partners, but didn't have enough budget. So I had said, if you can wait the 3 months, I'll do it when I get out. When I get out of jail, when I leave. And so they'd said they would wait, and then that was it. So I had a project to start on the Monday, finished on the Friday, but needed an intern to do it. And I needed a desk, and that's all the things that you don't realise, is you think, I'll just start up a business, but then you've got to have a computer, and programs, and a desk, and a chair.
Did you have that?
I had a laptop that didn't have any programs on it, so like have laptop, I'm now a business. But then I needed 2 chairs and 2 laptops and things for people to work on, cups, spoons, all of these things that you don't have a clue that you actually need to run a business. So it was a bit of a baptism of fire. I started in my husband's, he was my boyfriend at the time's, illustration studio, and I said, can I borrow a desk and I'll just sit at it.
Was that down here, was that in London?
It was in London, it was in King's Cross. So it was just me sitting at a desk, and I was like, right, how much will you charge me? And he was like, £200 a month. And I was like, right.
Your husband charged you £200?
He charged me £200 a month for a desk.
And this was a cheap.
Yeah, no, I'm married. Then I got an intern in, and I was like, there's still 1 desk. So I just put 2 chairs at 1 desk, and then I got another intern, and then another intern, and another one.
And
then so there was like 5 of us, sort of 5 of us all around 1 desk on laptops, and I was like, but it's still £200 a month because technically it's 1 desk. So I always had thought, well, you've got to keep the cost down. That's kind of how to build a business, kind of try and keep the cost as low as possible to start off with.
So how quick did that team grow? So like we had that intern, and then did they go full time, or after had them in the internship? Or
to begin with, I was dead nervous to hire anybody, because you're suddenly then responsible for folk like moving to London and having rent to pay and stuff like that, so I was quite felt quite overly responsible probably for offering people a job. So I just had people interning for about the first year, and then I would keep them on a more kind of freelance basis. But it probably took me about 2 years to actually hire someone full time. And that was terrifying.
What was that first role? Was that
a designer? A junior designer.
Junior designer.
Yeah, junior designer, and then I just sort of started like that and hired another junior designer and another junior designer. It took me quite a while again to then have the bottle to actually pay for a senior designer, design director, because they're big wages, and then you've got to bring in more work, and the more work that you bring in, the less fussy you can be. You've got to start sort of actually thinking properly about a business, and you can't just kind of fanny about with like nice arty projects and things like that.
What kind of projects were you doing on the?
God, I wish I had a better memory. I was the first thing I did was for a university, and they just kind of needed to sort of tighten up their brand a bit, tighten up the identity, produce some different bits of collateral. So we're just sort of doing that. And then a guy that I knew phoned was like, can you tidy this logo up for us and then meet me in Germany tomorrow and present it to these guys? And I was like, aye, okay, you know. So we just sort of rattled some stuff together, and then basically our advice was don't actually change it. So we got there with the big news of actually keep what you've got, just clean it up a little bit. Yeah. And they sort of liked that, and they liked that I was honest about it. And then I started a massive kind of project with them that I'm still working on. I'm working with them kind of like 7 years later. So. Yeah.
And so when you were hiring other designers, was that, were you thinking about you wanted to stop doing as much design because you were having too much running a business, or was what was the thought process there that you just went for designer? Was there, or was there one, or was it just?
No, I don't think there was a thought process. It was just like, fuck, I need help, you know. Yeah. But because I'd been directing for so long that I had lost all kind of Mac skills, you know, so I'd be like, you know, trying to like do anything and was totally rusty on all the programs. So I thought I need some help actually bringing things to life and creating stuff, and also just someone to bounce ideas off and stuff like that, you know. But I know the advice should have been to have got an account manager earlier. It still is, and these guys were giving me advice 5 minutes ago about doing that. But I've always just used to doing things myself and just getting on with it myself. But I do need other folk to bounce things around with and actually support me on that.
Yeah. So do you mostly just direct now, or are you on the tools still, or is
no, I'm mostly directing. Yeah, kind of pointing and shouting kind of thing. So, and then obviously patting on the back now and again, you know. Sort of
and do you enjoy that? You don't enjoy that side of it? Do you miss, you know, doing any actual design work itself, or do you feel you know? For me, you know, kind of me and Lewis kind of similar. I think kind of proud of seeing work go out through your agency under your name, you know, and it's, you know, like for me, I'm not precious about having to do the design.
Me either. No, I'm not precious about it at all. I just want to do a good job, and it's kind of I don't care who does it. You know, it's like the cleaner can come in if they want and get stuck in. You know, it's like if it's a good idea and they're capable of making it look beautiful, then great. You know, it's like I'm not fussy at all. I don't feel that I need to have my hands on it physically. Yeah,
and do you have that kind of ethos at your studio that, you know, ideas can come from everywhere then? You know, is it
definitely
anyone involved, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we work very kind of openly, ideas on the wall all the time, you know, always sketches first. Yeah. And then share ideas amongst the team, and that gives everybody the kind of practice of presenting to each other, you know, talking through your idea, explaining yourself, justifying yourself, sort of thing. And when if you can do that on a sketch, then it doesn't matter what it's going to look like eventually, sort of thing. You're used to actually what is the concept here, and so that's sort of mostly how we work, is kind of ideas from anywhere. Everybody chips in. Most people here work on every project. Yeah. Like, we don't have kind of like you're on this and you're on that. It's like everybody works on everything, and that gives everybody a chance to contribute. Yeah. And good value for clients because they get a whole team's brains kind of thinking at it in the brainstorming phase and things like that.
So is everyone involved in that brainstorming phase? Yeah.
Most people. I mean, sometimes, you know, folk have got a deadline on something else and they just can't sort of jump onto it. But they've usually have an opportunity at some point to have contributed to the idea. Yeah. You know, whether that's at the very first concept stage or development or something. Yeah. So it's very, very team focused across everything.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And in terms of, like, is there any sort of like ethos or kind of values that you run the agency on? We're quite big on values-driven business and kind of values-driven brands, and just interested to know if there's any sort of principles, whether that's process or just values that you live by, that you kind of want your team to kind of
that's a good question.
Or...
Good question. I suppose I should get some. No, really. You know, I think don't do shit work is probably the basic fundamentals of the business.
Agency,
you know, that's kind of it. You know, but I think sort of values wise, and I suppose it's you know, I've got a sign up there, blood, sweat, and tea, and I think that's quite a encapsulation of what I think it takes to be a good designer. Which is, you know, the blood part is about, you know, the homework. Do you know what I mean? You've got to get under the skin. You've got to kind of give a shit. You know, it's like if you've not spilt blood over it, you know, then, you know, it's like you've really got to sort of care about what it is. If you're going to look a client in the eye and say, right, I'm going to help you, that's a really vital thing. So giving a shit is vital. And then I guess the sweat part is like, you know, be prepared to get your sleeves up and get stuck in, because good work doesn't come easy. You know, you have got to actually work at it, and, you know, and you have got to be prepared that average ideas are going to go in the bin, and that you've got to be determined enough to, you know, get good ideas out there.
Yeah.
And then the tea part, I suppose, is about having a good time as well, you know. And that's usually, everybody kind of thinks, or I think, you know, oh, design's supposed to be like this super fun industry, and I'm like, is it? You know, it's fun afterwards, but I don't think that, you know, sometimes the process of it can feel quite hard work, you know, and you know, you sort of hate yourself because you can't come up with something that's genius enough, you know, and that can be quite demoralising, you know. And then so the tea part is really essential, that as a team you then go out and celebrate, and you celebrate when you have done good stuff, and it's important that you all kind of pick each other up.
It's often easy to concentrate on when hard or the bad stuff happens, isn't it? And
Totally,
I think it's really important when times are good is to like celebrate those good times.
Exactly.
Enjoy it,
Do you know what I mean? And make sure you take the time out to go and celebrate.
Because like you know itself, if you know, often project ends and you're straight on to the next one, isn't it? Where you should really stop and go, hey guys, that was amazing.
Even if it's like a quick cheers and out for lunch or a something, do you know what I mean? But that's the thing, is kind of, and that's what keeps us tight, I think, as a team. Is the whole sort of philosophy is like, if you've got each other's back, then you'll work well here. You know, it's like there's no kind of people who are a bit kind of solo or out for themselves. It's all very much, do you know what I mean? Don't let anybody else fail. You know, it's like, make sure that you can see what's going on, you know the project, and you can see where people are struggling, and that everybody will pick each other up, even if that's an intern picking up a senior, do you know what I mean? Whatever it is, you know, it's kind of being aware.
Totally.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you had in the early days?
Having enough spoons. You know, I think, you know, when you're trying to plan what the future is and who you can hire and who you can bring in, but there's no guarantee of what work you're going to get, and you're trying to sort of guess at that and sort of forecast and do all these magical sort of crystal ball type things, you know. But you're still nervous about whether the whole thing just goes tits at any moment, you know, and you've hired all these people. So I think you're trying to calculate who you can hire and who you can take on and make a commitment to. Especially if you're asking that person to leave a really good job that they're already in, you know, that you feel the responsibility of asking them to do that. And then when you're trying to plan to grow, you're like, right, well, I can have 2 desks in here or 4 desks in here, but if I want to grow to 5 desks, I need to move studio, you know, or 6 desks means I need to move across the other part of town because I can't afford studios in here. So all of these sort of things that are like really kind of practical and physical sort of problems start arising that you maybe don't think creatively about when you're first starting out. You know?
You suddenly realise there's another side to the brain that you've got to use.
I know, and you're just sort of like that, you know. What do I know about you know, contracts and things like that, you know? So you know, it's like, how do you put T's and C's together and make sure that you don't get caught out, or that, you know, a client, not that they don't rip you off, but you don't accidentally do something wrong. And you know, so a lot of people, you know, were really kind when I first started, and I'd be like, God, has MD got a set of T's and C's, you know, that I can cut and paste or whatever, or, you know, because you're going to invest in a lawyer, or can I spend that money yet, or do I just use somebody else's T's and C's for now until I can afford a lawyer?
It's amazing, isn't it? Because if you just ask when you're setting up a business, usually people do help. You know, I always
it
find
is. It's such a generous.
You know, someone's like, yeah, have my T's and C's. You're like, really? And then someone else gives you another bit, and it just starts.
They're like, oh, have you got a template for a proposal? And it's like, have you ever done a film like we were talking about? You know, and it's like, right, well, what does a proposal look like for something like that? And people are, I was quite surprised, so generous about that.
Yeah, it's almost a pain you go through it the first time. You kind of want to be as useful as possible, get the most use out of it all.
You know, it's kind of like you try and help somebody else avoid that pain. You know, you're like, you know, so if now MD wants my T's and C's, they can
have them. And in terms of like, how do you deal with that now? Do you have a finance team? Do you have someone in finance? Do you have someone in operations? Or are you still doing that stuff at the same time?
I've got, like, you know, accountant, bookkeeper, account manager, things like that, you know, which I'll lighten the loads. I used to do like every single receipt I'd be putting in a spreadsheet and stuff like that, you know. You know, it's like, you know, and then you're like, what is VAT? And all of this sort of stuff. You're just like, sort of like, I'm supposed to just come up with ideas, is that not my job?
What is that? No one told me about that.
You know, and then it's like, can you put VAT on this kind of, and you're just like, oh my God. And then again, you need to invest in paying someone to do that, and that costs money, and you've got to have the confidence to do that. But I think I would like to say that I had somebody shouldering the weight of the worry of the studio, but I don't. I'm still doing that, you know, every night. Every night, probably home, to go do my emails and, you know, through everything and trying to just check that nothing slips, you know, and you haven't missed something or let a client down by, you know.
Do you think if you're starting again today, would you do anything different in that first couple of years, or do you think there'd be any different hires, or do you think, you know, just knowing what you know now and knowing how much of that side of it there is to balance with the creativity?
I think, you know, the sort of dream scenario would be that you magically met some really amazing account handler or like new business person sort of thing, and who also knew about ordering pens and contracts and things like that, you know, and you'd have this magic person and you just need to come up with ideas and make things look great. But I think probably having the confidence to hire someone more senior earlier would have made life easier, because you know, when you've got a lot of young folk, it's like kind of you're trying to teach and deliver at the same time, you know, and you know, it's not their fault they don't know how to deliver yet, you know, so you're trying to do a lot of kind of nurturing teaching, but also you've got massive projects that you need to get out the door.
It's that hard balance, because you often can't afford the salary.
You know, and also the sort of risk, like I'm saying, you know, it's like I've an eye on different people that I would love to hire, but I'm like, God, what if we all collapsed and you've just left, you know, blah blah company that could be a major blunder. So it's there's all the sort of gamble there, but I think hiring senior earlier would have been good, and hiring an account manager. And I'm now going to get a PA for your advice. Getting a PA.
Change your life. Change your life.
I think that would be quite helpful.
Definitely.
You know.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I think when I grew up, to be honest, I didn't know that you could be something. do you know what I mean? Like, I think I just sort of grew up thinking you just got jobs or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And like, you didn't really probably have much say in that matter. It was just like, what jobs are available that I would be remotely capable of doing, and then you just do them. So I didn't really sort of get it, that you could actually choose to be a thing.
Were you always creative, or?
I think I wanted to be a dancer, really, is kind of what I wanted to do. But I didn't know that you could get a job doing that, or, you know, and also I wasn't that good. So I probably wouldn't have got a job anyway, even if I had known. But I think I had always liked sort of solving problems, and I liked drawing, and, you know, I liked cutting out letters and things like that, you know, cutting out magazine stuff and making little collagey bits and pieces and stuff like that. So I think there's probably always something there, but I didn't know what that was, you know, or what to do about it. You know, just went to school, did my hires, did art. That teacher was like, look, you can't draw, so you know, why don't you do graphic design? And
I failed higher art.
Oh, did you?
I managed to end up running a studio. So
there's hope for people. Right.
For anyone out there that is failing higher art as we speak.
Oh no, I got a B.
Did you get a B?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Made me fail. My brain wasn't interested in that.
No, I think because you know, it was a long time ago, and graphic design hadn't really been invented.
Yeah.
So you know, Bob Gill hadn't came and done a talk at our school then, and but the teachers were like, oh, you should do something to do with graphic design, and I was like I can just remember hearing these two words, and it was like graphic and design. I was like, oh my god, they like sound totally awesome. Like, what is it? And they were like, we don't know, but you should probably do something like that other than art, because you're probably better at the ideas side than the actually the drawing and
I remember
and the
choosing
painting.
It at college just by looking at the picture and the perspectives, and it was someone sitting at a computer, and it looked like they were on Microsoft Paint, and I thought, that looks fun. I'll choose that course.
It's like, there you go. Thanks that little Getty image. Whatever it was.
That guy's somewhere there. Doesn't know.
I suppose outside of agency, you know, like creatives sometimes get all the fulfillment when they're inside the agency. Sometimes, like I know myself, like I like when I'm out and about, I often get the camera out, go back to photography, and you know, play a little bit. Do you do anything out with here? Any personal projects? Any kind of passion stuff? Yeah.
I'd love to say yes, but I'm not really. No, I don't really find a lot of time. Yeah, exactly. You know, pubs and camping probably is like my favourite sort of things to do. You know, but yeah.
Where'd you go camping? Where'd you go?
Well,
back to
I think
Scotland,
at the weekends I'm going somewhere down in Sussex, I think.
Okay.
So just anywhere usually it's anywhere that somebody else has booked.
Yeah.
So I don't have the stress of actually trying to find somewhere and book things, because I don't really have time now to actually organise life stuff.
Yeah.
It's quite
you know, you know, it's like, so if somebody else is booking it and then they're like, do you want to go there? And I'll be like, aye, that's it. It's like easy, stress free.
That's kind of thing, isn't it? When you're running an agency or a business,
Yeah.
you kind of like, it's great when other people organise things.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You just want to go with it.
I know,
don't
you're
you?
just sort of like, I don't care where it is, over the edge of this cliff, oh, I don't
Uh-huh.
care, I'll just go, you know, because somebody else has booked it and my life is now made easy. And
We travel
you know.
quite a lot and we're terrible because as soon as we pop out in a different city or, you know, we're like, we both start walking and we think the other one's leading. So we you know,
You're like,
we're-
where is it we're going?
Yeah,
Where-
neither of
where's
us
this
want to
meeting?
lead to the other.
I'm like, are we doing that thing again? He's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely.
We just walked a mile in the road.
yeah.
See, you know, kind of growing up in Scotland, studying in Scotland, how,
Mhm.
you know, what differences have you observed from London, you know, kind of culturally and professionally?
I think I was quite amazed when I like first came down here that the colleges down here had a lot of guest lecturers coming in and guest speakers and things like that because they've obviously got access to a lot more, a bigger pool of agencies who can donate some time to do that. So I was kind of like always quite amazed, like, God, you've got that guy, you've got that girl coming in and like teaching you on a regular basis. And I'm like, you know, we had like one lecture or something like that in the whole 3 years at Dundee. And so I think they've definitely got an advantage of influence, you know, from lots of different agencies who can then pop in, you know, and get that. And I think then that offers opportunities as well, where it's like, oh, they're looking for an intern or they've maybe got a junior position and they might have met somebody in the course of that. So things like that, I was kind of like, oh, well, that's quite interesting. I didn't realise that I was quite at a disadvantage then, not being exposed to that, you know. But I think in like, there's such a bigger scene in Glasgow and Edinburgh and Dundee now and the whole north that I hope that the colleges are capitalising on that and getting people in and doing talks and doing teaching.
Some talks,
I'm happy to do it. Happy to do it. Do you know what I mean? You know, I see it as like our responsibility. You know, I was dead lucky. Like I didn't go to art school till I was a lot older, and I was lucky that a guy gave me a chance, basically because I like nagged him to death to let me into Glasgow College of Building and Printing.
That's where I went.
Did you? Glasgow College of Smoking and Drinking. Yeah, I was like, you know, first class. You know, but a guy there just gave me a chance, and I sort of see it as sort of not my responsibility, but something that I get a massive kick out of is if I can help somebody else, then I will. I know.
It's amazing the difference it makes. You know, I do a lot of talking at college and
Oh,
back
do you?
all the time, and uni as well. And you know, you see kids 3 or 4 or 5 years later say like, your talk back then inspired me to change into graphic design and do something. And I think
That's
you know, it's amazing the power it has, isn't it? Like,
and it's just sort of like a bit of
sharing.
encouragement or a bit of seeing somebody normal. I think as well. You know, it's sort of like not. You know, I know like you can fly in the big stars from down here, and it's like, oh my God. But I think when people see just somebody normal that's grown up in the same situation as them, and you know, didn't have the opportunity, you know, it's like, but you can do it as well. And I think especially to young girls, and I'm not like, you know, I don't see any separation, but there's often not, young girls don't see enough women like running their own agencies or doing these talks or exposed, that they then don't easily see themselves in those shoes. So I'm kind of like, if I can, a lot of things I don't want to do, or I feel like I'm the token, you know, woman on the jury or whatever, and it kind of puts me off a wee bit. But I know if I don't do it, then there's no one there, and then they're not seeing that person. So it's like, all right, I'll do it. You know, all right then. You know.
Do you think that's getting better? Do you think there's getting a better mix now? Do you think there's a lot of younger, you know, women coming through, or do you think that?
I do, although I don't know if it's myself or the you know, like my old agents or whatever like that. But we didn't ever get a lot, and we don't get a lot of girls applying. You know, and I don't know if that's a confidence thing or, you know, whether they think I'm a guy because of my name or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? We don't often get girls applying. So when we do, I'm like really keen to try and find something to make that work. But at the end of the day, you've got to take the best candidate. You know, exactly. You can't just sort of take someone for the sake of it. You know, and but I think if we can get in there early enough and give the girls the confidence enough to go out for the interviews, then that will expand their horizons a lot. You know.
Yeah, we've always picked best candidate, and we've got more females in the Made Brave team, I think, than males. But it just so happens that way. It's never planned. You're never picking this or that.
No, you're just sort of like, who could I go for a drink with?
Oh, exactly, who's normal?
Who could I have a good chat with? Who could I go for a drink with? Who's got sort of similar values? Like who gives a shit, and who is really sort of hungry to want to do great work. Yeah. And then what's their portfolio like?
Mm-hmm. And do you pick more for portfolio or more for attitude? Because often, like at Made Brave, you can very quickly see if the portfolio is good enough, and then I'm usually looking for attitude, because I always think we can teach a lot of it.
Exactly,
and you just want people that are hungry and passionate about it, and actually love it. Are you the same, or are you kind of?
No, definitely. It's kind of like, as soon as you can sort of suss out and folk that they haven't really got the drive for it all. It's just sort of a bit of a turn off. It doesn't matter if they've got a fantastic portfolio or not. It's always personality first. Yeah. Because you spend a lot of time together.
More time with your family.
Exactly. And you need to know that they've got the shared ambition at the end of the day, and that's to do something fantastic. And if they kind of think, oh, that'll do, then no, it won't. I'm afraid. Do you want to see our neighbour's dog?
Fide. Yeah.
Hey, Fide.
Pick up the stick insect. What's the dog called again?
Fide. Which means loyalty, but
Phoebe.
Fide. It's like, I think it's Latin for
Charlie,
loyalty,
right?
But he spends more time in our studio than he does in his owners, so I'm not sure how loyal he is.
Show the lovely people watching the dog.
Yeah.
And this is Charlie.
Yo,
this is
Fide. Hey, Fide.
It looks like a stick insect.
Are you saying hello? Are you saying hello?
It's like a bat.
Hey.
Hello. So what kind of dog is it?
He's an Italian greyhound. Yeah, and he belongs to the architects next door. So he always comes in to get a wee cuddle and a wee clap and some attention.
Really does look like he belongs in a tree.
Yeah. Oh, you're gorgeous.
How old is it? Is he old?
No, I think he's under a year.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you coming down?
I feel like you're just snapping.
He always goes for my hair, don't you, Fide? Yeah. That's his favourite snack. Oh no.
Wow.
Right down.
Never seen such a
Yeah.
I was going to ask, what advice would you have for people that kind of start their career now?
Starting.
Touched on a few things, but if you were to summarise.
I think confidence is always something. It's like I don't think you can teach people confidence, or you can't say have confidence. Have more confidence. And you're like, oh, right then. But I always kind of find that that if you don't ask, you don't get, and people with confidence ask, and people without don't, and then they deny themselves a lot of opportunity. So I think it is always like taking a big deep breath and sending your folio, picking up the phone, you really kind of brass necking it, and kind of going, what's the worst that can happen? They could say no, but if you don't ask, somebody else will ask. That's maybe not as good, and you just kick yourself because you didn't do it.
And you need to resend that portfolio, don't you? Because often you get emails and you get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
You do, and it's not that you've seen it and you kind of think, oh God, they're the worst or anything like that. You're just sort of like, I've got a deadline right now, and then it goes down, and then there's 7,000 other emails, and and then you're just sort of like, I'm sure I saw a thing that I need to get back to, and it just goes. So there's no harm in
it's that
resending.
Kind of resilience, isn't it?
Yeah,
just
and you've got to be determined. Yeah. I mean, it's always a balance between being a pain in the arse and being determined, sort of thing. But I think anyone good can find charming ways.
Line between stalker.
Yeah, exactly. Following you down the street, held up like in your job. But I think ask.
Yeah.
Great. So, final question: what does the future hold for Jack Renwick Studio and Jack Renwick?
Oh God, I don't know. I just always want to do bigger and better work.
Yeah.
As a studio, sort of do stuff that helps more businesses perform better, tell their story better, whatever it might be. Something that's different. We've got like a kind of mantra of like, make it different, make a difference. And the make it different is always about the next project. You're always trying to do something different, because there's no point in trying to repeat what's ever been done. Yeah. And make a difference being, help the business. Like it's easy to help yourself in design and do things that win prizes and things like that. But like genuinely trying to make a difference to that business is sort of what we want to do. And the bigger difference we can make, the more happier I think we feel, more content that we feel. and personally, get a PA, get a PA, you know, maybe get some more time to myself. You know, I think by getting a bit more support around me, that would allow me to enjoy outside. Yeah, you know, like enjoy things outside of here a little better and be a bit less. But I'm quite obsessed, and I'm quite into it all. Do you know what I mean? So
it's hard letting go, isn't it?
It is. It's hard letting go, and especially when you know, like you know, when you give a shit about every aspect of it, and you're just sort of like into it all, and you're sort of like you want to know everything that's going on, you know. And so I like not every waking breath, you know, I'm not that bad, but you know, we're always at like talks, do's, events, you know, getting involved in things, because just all like feeding the design mind, I suppose, with new stuff. You know? So, but more time away from that would be quite nice.
Balance. It's all about the balance.
Yeah. Apparently. Apparently there's a thing called work-life balance. You know, I've not quite learnt that yet, sadly.
Well, thank you so much for having us. Thanks to everyone for listening. If you like what you're hearing and you want to support the podcast, please rate us and write a review and help us get the word out. If you're listening on Spotify and Google Podcasts, you can also watch the full version on YouTube. We publish a new episode every last Monday of the month, so make sure you're subscribed, and see you again next month. Thanks.
Welcome. Cheers. Hopefully that was some...
That was really good, really interesting.